What's up guys, today I'm going to be showing you guys a cool video that no one's really ever tested before. And what that is if you've ever watched my other videos on like top 5 fall musky baits or top 5 musky baits in general, you guys have seen that I've thrown bass baits in a lot of those videos. And the reason is because nobody else does and they work. So the reason that nobody is throwing these baits is because nobody's heard of them that's a musky fisherman. If you're a musky fisherman, you're probably from like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Canada, all that stuff, and you have no clue that out west in California, guys are throwing giant bass baits to catch giant bass like these. Now, the thing is, these baits aren't just going to catch bass. They're going to catch other fish that key in onto prey of the size of the baits. Now, what else is there that is keying in on like 6 to 10 inch baits? Well, there's pike and there's musky. And there's a reason that these baits are going to work for musky and stuff if you use them. So here are like 6 baits that you guys have probably never heard of if you're a musky fisherman, but you guys should really be throwing. And I think if you do throw them, they're going to be awesome baits that will produce fish for you guys. So let's get right into it. So one of the muskie's favorite foods is like bluegill and crappie. Well, nothing imitates a bluegill or crappie better than a bait like this. Now, why aren't you throwing it? Again, I do not know. This is a Jackall Gantarel. You can also get different baits like the Imakatsu Gilroyd. This one happens to be a small bait. This is like the 5-inch bait, but they also come in like a 7-inch bait, which is perfect. It's going to be like the same size of a lot of the baits that you're throwing for muskie. Just a new profile that the fish have not seen and a more natural profile as well. The cool thing about this one is it's got kind of a different settings on it. You can rig it on the top eyelet here or the bottom to get it diving different depths, and this one happens to be like you can get it right under the surface as well as down like 3 feet. So when you're around shallow weeds and stuff, this is going to be perfect because it's going to be doing the exact same thing as any of the other bluegill are in that area of the water, and it's going to be a perfect way to showcase a natural bait fish profile to those muskies. Now the next one is going to be bass glide baits. Now when you think of glide baits, musky glide baits and bass glide baits are going to be basically 2 completely different things. They both have kind of like a crazy action, but the bass one is going to be a lot more natural, slower moving compared to the musky glide baits. And this is one of the baits that I've featured in a lot of my videos is bass glide baits. And one of them is going to be this River2Sea S Waver. Now I personally fished this when I was down in Kentucky. This one is a bone color and we didn't end up catching fish, but we had multiple follow-ups. The weather just wasn't cooperating. So down in Kentucky, you guys, you should be throwing it. And the cool thing about this is it has a nice like S swimming action. And it's a really natural kind of like vulnerable bait fish action, which this one happens to be the 168 size. It's going to be a 6-inch bait. They also make the 200 size, which is an 8-inch bait, or you can get other glide baits such as this bad boy. This one is going to be a Ray Go Gladiator. This one has a more expensive price point. The River2Sea S Waver here is going to be like 20 to 40 bucks, which is basically the same price as you're paying for any other musky bait, as are a lot of the baits in this video. This one happens to be about 100 bucks, so it's a more expensive bait, but you can get bigger baits such as this one for cheaper and stuff. I'll leave some links to different websites below that you can get them on, and they are awesome. Like I said, it's going to have that same like S moving action, and you can get them in different paint jobs and stuff. Otherwise, this one happens to be a trout, which is a really cool pattern. But if you really wanted, you can repaint it to like a perch or something, anything you need, and have a different action that these muskies have not seen before. And they also are going to have a really good hookup ratio still. They have treble hooks and everything, so you don't have to worry about losing fish. The next one is going to be a really cool bait. This is another more expensive one. I believe it's about 70 bucks depending on the size that you get. This one is the smaller size, the 6.5-inch, but they do make it in like an 8 and 9-inch as well. And this is the DRT Tiny Clash. Now, cool thing about this bait is this one already comes in a natural perch pattern, which is one of my favorite colors to throw for muskie. The other cool thing about it is you can see it's got this bill here on it, just like standard crankbait would, but you can actually pull that bill out, as well as you can flip the tail around on this bait, so you can really have 4 different bait fish actions in this one bait. And really, if you think about it, the 70 bucks really is good pricing, considering you're getting basically 4 different baits in this one bait. So that is the DRT Tiny Clash. They also make it in the Klash, which is about a 9-ish bait, give or take. I don't remember exactly. And this is also a nice heavy bait, so you're going to be able to throw it good, and you can get it diving different depths and stuff, as I said. Now, one fun way to catch muskies is going to be on top water, and there are a couple different bass baits that are perfect for this. This one happens to be the Black Dog Baits Lunker Punker. This is in the 6-inch size. They also make a 5-inch and an 8-inch profile bait of this. They might even make a 10-inch at one point, so if you can find that, that's another big one for you guys. And this is going to be a standard like walk the dog bait, but it's got like the feathered treble hooks and stuff, and it's just going to be a different sitting in the water profile, which a lot of guys don't think musky fishing. When you think of walk the dog baits, you think they're basically all going to walk the exact same, but different baits such as this one are going to walk differently, whether they sit with the tail down or tail up. Different things like that are going to really have different effects in the water and different actions, so that's another thing to think about. And then the other one I do not have here. I was hoping to get it before I filmed this video, however I ended up having to buy a laptop last week, so the bait money is gone. And that's going to be a MS Slammer. That's going to be a Mike Shot MS Slammer, and I'll put pictures of it on here. You can get it in multiple different sizes, from like 5-inch all the way up to like 12 or 13 inches. And it's going to be a top water like wake bait basically. So it's going to swim across the top water, kind of having that same S action, but on top of the water. You're also going to have a little kicking tail on the back, and it's a really cool bait. Whether you're fishing in submerged weeds and stuff, you can pull it right over the top, as well as over different rocks or timber, different things like that that's in the water. It's going to be a really cool bait that you can really target a different style of top water that the muskie have not seen before. Now, for the last bait here, this is another bait that I've used in the past and have had strikes and stuff on. And this one happens to be a soft body bait. Now, when you think about soft body baits with muskie, you might think that they're going to get the tails ripped off or anything like that. But there are baits such as the Poseidon and the Medusa that are made for muskie, and these are also soft body baits, and you don't have to worry about that. A lot of times muskie are going to hit the heads of the baits, T-bone them, stuff like that, so you don't really have to worry about losing the tail or anything on them. Worst case, you can get some like mend it and glue it back together. And these are going to be Huddlestons. Now, these are another really popular bait for bass. This is one of the most beginner bass swim baits. This one happens to be the 6-inch size. You can also get 8, 10, and I believe 12-inch versions of these. This one happens to be a really nice natural perch color. I also have the trout one here, which is another really nice profile. These are also designed to be fished very slow, so they're going to have a nice little just tail kicking action as you drag them through the water. Cool thing about this is, being the soft bait that it is, it's not going to float or anything, and you can count it down to whatever depth you want. So if you're fishing in deeper water, this is going to be a perfect bait for you. You also have the option to add a treble hook down on the bottom, so don't worry about that top hook. And that is going to be another awesome bait. As I said, this is one I've used and have had strikes on and stuff, so don't worry about it being soft plastic. It's going to be another awesome bait that you should be throwing for muskies. So those are 6 bass swim baits that you should be throwing for muskie. Like I said, if you aren't already, it's probably because you have never heard of these baits before and didn't know they're a thing. I'm going to leave some links down below to where you can get these baits, and also other baits like them, depending on what you want. As well as, like I said, they're going to be a very similar price point to muskie baits, so you don't have to worry about breaking the bank with these. And they're going to be a bait that the fish have not really seen around before. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up below, as well as subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.